Emmett, you just cast Magic Circle under the water in the Shrine Cave at Hadari. The strand of chaos scattered you into the whirlpool at the center of the Iron. Though you struggled with all your might, and though you leveled up to 14 before you were thrown, you are a 12-year-old child. You weren't able to overcome the power of the vortex. It pulled you down, and everything went black. And then, you disappeared. But before you emerged from the river near Tuvold, before Igern found you, you came here. You don't know where here is precisely, but you know that you are still deep underwater and everything is still black. You find yourself pulled along an underwater current. Your potion of water breathing is still active, so you aren't at any immediate risk of drowning. But it is dark down here, and cold. The current pulls you until it meets another, perpendicular to its flow. At the point where the two currents meet, you slow and stop. At this meeting point, as you come to float in the stillness, you see another figure held in place here. A subtle anti-light radiates from the figure, tracing its form. It's a woman. She's slumbering, but it does not seem like a restful sleep. Though you don't know her face, you still recognize something in her. When you look at her, you think of Igern. What were you thinking about and feeling as you were pulled to this submerged crossroads? What do you do now as you behold this slumbering witch who, like Igern, plucks at the strand of the mother within you?
As I got pulled down, the cold is the first thing I thought about. I have felt this before. I've felt this sub-zero feeling, and I resent it. I resent it with all of my whole heart. Everything's been so chaotic so far, but just the shock of being here has rocked me into my body, like remembering that I'm a small person and remembering that I have a mortality that is way deeper than I can even feel in battle or anything like that. And so seeing this figure here slowing to a stop in this current and this being the only thing I can kind of see, I feel that connection, that plucking at that strand, and I'm drawn toward it in the sense that it's the only source of life that I can see, the only anchor that I can draw myself towards, because there's nothing else here. And in my darkest moments in the past, humanity has been my only connection to life and being alive and rescuing myself. So I want to go closer if my body will allow me.
You can swim closer to the figure. Would you like to do any kind of check?
Yes.
I would say roll investigation, perception, or arcana, which depending on which flavor of information you want to get.
Ooh. 18.
It's interesting to look at this figure. That you sense a pull and attraction, a draw toward it, and at the same time, it's almost like when you look deep into water and you watch light broken up almost. Except that the light on the edge of this figure, it's doing the same thing, but the tendrils of light as you watch them. First of all, there's no source of light down here, but somehow these are streaming off of it. And the second thing is, normally when light exists, it illuminates something, and this light is dissipating and disintegrating. Almost as if it's being unraveled as this person floats in this nothingness.
Charley, you've learned at least two things this night. The first is that if you go prying into the dreams of a fading goddess, she'll look you in the eye and confront you with hard truths. The second is that a goddess of the deep, dark sea would gladly have you by her side. You're so distracted by the questions this raises, of your coven, of your friends, and of your own desires, that you don't even realize that the conscious part of your mind hasn't landed back in your body yet. You realize the split consciousness when you wake, but don't at the same time. You're aware of your body in the bathtub where you began your divination, gasping for breath as it comes out of the water, sitting and then standing to dry off. But your mind floats in the space between dreaming and waking, among pathways that stretch out between visions. It's rare you stop here in this empty place, a dangerous void between minds. But here you swim, suddenly against the current of a swiftly moving river of dreams in a field of nothingness. But it's not nothingness. You've never had to consider this space before. Other rivers of consciousness stretch across this place. Most are far away, but one intersects with yours. Another dreamer swims downriver. And at the intersection between your stream and theirs, where they head, a figure sleeping. You slow to the same stop at the same place where you find these two figures together. What then do you do as you realize that you are sharing this unconscious space with more than just yourself?
I stop for a second, and I would like to take a closer look who I'm sharing this space with. Charley's curious, so she wants to get closer. She maybe sees it as a sign that this did not happen by accident, but that there's a reason for why they're suddenly in this space together. Being the way she is, she thinks maybe this could be a new friend in the making.
The first figure you see, the one who is actively moving, is small. As you look closer, you realize you're approaching a very young girl. She's short, got short curly hair, and is wearing a teal blue scarf around her neck that floats away behind her. She is hovering over the second figure, this slumbering witch. Emmett, someone just rocked up on you.
Excuse me, is what Emmett's feeling in her heart.
Your telepathic bond is up with her, is what you realize.
I am gonna whip around and try and see what the heck is happening and try and, I'm readying myself internally for self-defense. I feel very vulnerable.
As you spin, you behold a person who you're caught in between trying to describe them as, are they like a human or a fairy? It's hard to tell. They have slight features and pale skin, golden hair sort of flowing behind them, but also they emanate a light. It's almost as if they're only half here, where you're here in your body. This person seems to be semi-transparent almost. You catch a glimpse of the shadow through them of the space behind, almost as if they're a projection to some degree. You feel at the same time there's an age to them, the depth of the eyes as they look at you, and also a lightness, a youth, almost on your level. There is a telepathic bond between you, and it's odd because you didn't necessarily cast that spell and include them or even understand who this person is, but it's almost as if this bond is a natural bond you feel. Make an Arcana check for me.
+1.
+1, thank you. 3.
3. Some magical shit is going on here, and you have no idea what it is, but you feel that this link opened. Charley, you're beholding a child who spun around and looked at you with a sense of fear, distrust who you were, and at the same time, as they did, some element of their heart magically just opened up between you and yours as well. You realize you and this person are connected. It's hard to exactly say what it is, but it has something to do with the path that you walk. It is a witch of a way of power and tradition that is so in alignment with yours that you realize an immediate kinship.
What you recognize it as is a depth of feeling. Both of you share that.
Is there something you do as this young person looks at you with surprise and uncertainty?
I noticed the scarf. It's a teal color, right? It was a teal scarf. That is one of Charley's favorite colors. So she carefully reaches out one hand and touches the scarf. And that's the first thing. She's trying to find an opening. So she just reaches out for the scarf and she says, "That's a really nice scarf you have there."
On first, like, this perception of, like, Charley, I feel like that contrast between the youth and the age, unknown age, but, like, so much older that I can sense that. I already feel very disoriented from that, because in my life, there's a very clear dichotomy between the children in my life and, like, the adults in my life, especially as of recently. And my whole life is getting rocked up. As a hand is reaching towards a very vulnerable part of my body, I feel a weird sense of familiarity and, like, comfort from this connection that we've had so quickly. But I am gonna reach for your hand and grab it and just keep it from getting any closer. I'm not gonna do any more.
Charley's kind of taken aback by this sudden hand movement, but she has kind of like this disarming quality about her, so she just looks directly at her and she smiles and it's radiating from her and she's asking, "What's your name?"
Emmett.
Emmett? Oh, that's a lovely name. I'm Charley. Do we know each other?
I don't think so. Do we?
I can't quite tell. It just feels like we have met before.
It does. It's weird. I let go of your hand.
Charley also steps back, and for the first time she takes a proper look at Emmett, and she suddenly realizes how young Emmett actually looks. She doesn't usually interact that much with children. She's usually surrounded mostly by her coven, and that is always witches who are much older than her. So now she suddenly feels this urge to protect her, which she usually feels like she is the one that her coven always has to look out for. It's a new feeling for her, and she doesn't quite know how to adapt to that.
As this feeling arises in Charley, Emmett, that sense of familiarity that you felt with this slumbering figure behind you, all of a sudden you feel that same strand reach out and connect with Charley. Charley, your sense of this is that there is a magical bond that you share with this child in front of you. You sense its connection to this figure behind you, who suddenly, as the three of you bond with each other in this way, starts to struggle in her sleep. Not to thrash, but as if she's having a nightmare. Charley, I would ask, especially because you're in sort of a liminal space, how do you react to this third party in this space with you?
Well, one of Charley's powers is medicine. She does have healing powers, so her first instinct, it is usually to try and go and see what is going on and if there's anything that she can do to help. I imagine her rushing towards that third creature. Is it a witch or is it a person?
It's a witch.
Okay, so she rushes towards that third witch that she now only properly realizes is lying there, and she touches the hand of that witch, and it's ice cold. It almost feels like Charley's being electrocuted. So she immediately pulls her hand back, and that is a very disorienting feeling for her, because usually Charley does have the ability to heal and just with like a bare touch of the hand understand what is going on. But with this particular witch, it's not working.
Jacob, would Charley recognize who?
Absolutely, yeah. As Charley touches and then instinctively retracts her hand, in the touch, in that momentary shock of cold, electricity, power, the thing that's shocking about it is not necessarily pain, but it's the intensity of invitation from the entity that has enveloped this witch, the entity that is at the root of many of the struggles that witches in your world contend with. The nameless thing that invented death, that rules the underworld, and that seeks to eventually unmake the world. This witch is embraced by it, as if when it asked for her power, she said yes. And I think as both of you consider this witch through your individual arts of observation and diagnosis and sensitivity, you can see that this witch also, the core of her power that still exists while enveloped by this entity that is slowly unmaking the world that she floats through. The core of her power in her heart is still there.
But what you sense as you reach into her heart is that there's something lodged in it. Your powers, your abilities cannot quite sense the edges of it. The way that the world unravels into nothingness behind her, it's almost as this object within her heart is the source of that. But you sense that that is what is keeping her bound here in this cold, dark place.
The moment Charley realizes that thing that is lodged within the witch's heart, she feels extremely uneasy. Her breath grows shorter, and she has this instinct to just run and get out of that space as quickly as possible. So she takes another step back and she looks at Emmett, realizing that Emmett doesn't really see what she is seeing, and she's asking her, "Can you touch it and tell me what you feel and tell me what you're seeing?"
I will take that action. Am I able to agree with what Charley has just asked me to do and touch, as well as do true seeing?
This spell gives the willing creature you touch the ability to see things as they actually are. So you touch this ice-cold witch floating here, and you are able to see the same thing that Charley is, that deep within her heart, there is something pinning her here, holding her down in this space. You can't make out the shape and form of this object that is within her, but you realize that it is maybe this thing that has called you all here. What it reminds you of is the sense of doom and foreboding that you have been feeling as you have come to understand the scope of the church's operations within Aelia, as you have come to understand what they've been doing to your friends. You think about the death ward that you cast on Sprout, the same thing that you were protecting Sprout from. That is the same thing that is holding this witch here in this place.
One other detail occurs to both of you as you consider this. As you watch this witch float through this between space, you can see a layer of reality behind her where she moves being unraveled. And that if you don't do something here, now, she will carve a hole through creation.
How disturbing. I am taking in this sensation that I'm getting from true seeing. And when Charley backed off for a second from that fear, I feel like, especially with all that I've been through so far with Naya and Ophelia and everything, I reach out within myself and I recognize that I would like to embrace this figure. I would like to cast Calm Emotions.
Emmett, that strand of the mother, that reminder of Igern, as you embrace this figure, you pour your own care back into it, and you feel it hook into this object lodged in this witch's heart. But you know that your power is not enough alone to be able to remove it.
Charley, I reach out my hand to you. Come, group hug. Come on.
A group hug?
Yeah, group hug. Come on.
With that unconscious witch right there?
Charley, one of the truths about this situation here is that this witch has something in her heart that is obstructing her ability to choose her own destiny, and she's allowed the nameless thing to take her. You watch as Emmett casts a spell. It's a different tradition from yours, but you are aware of its purpose is to affect the emotion, to allow someone to gather themselves and come into a clearer head. You have an opportunity here to augment what Emmett is doing with your own craft.
The thing that Charley is trying to attempt right now in order to solve this is that she wants to see what this witch is dreaming about in this very moment. If they are all like in the same space also mentally, or if the witch is just in here with them with her body. And so she casts that spell, and it allows her to reach into the witch's mind. And the first thing that she sees is a vision, and at first it's quite blurry. She doesn't quite see it, but there's colors that are appearing. It's the colors of the sea. As she's trying to get a clearer picture of what exactly she is seeing, she hears a soft singing voice reminiscent of a lullaby. Then she realizes she hears Lorelei.
What source does she strike in order to do this?
She's gonna strike the love for her friends.
Emmett, you invite this witch into this embrace as you cast your spell, and you watch it encounter emotions that are almost too much for this spell to affect, as the spell's energy almost starts to get lost within the tumult. And then Charley steps in, takes your hand, puts a hand on the shoulder of this sleeping witch, and you watch a magic move forward. You can see her focus in and bring her attention into the mind of this witch. You can almost hear a soft lullaby coming out in another voice. And you also watch a collection of cares cross Charley's face and then change as she lets go of something important in order to give some sort of hope to this sleeping witch. And as she does, your spell finds purchase. The knot that was holding whatever was spiked into the heart tight within, almost as if this person was pushing it into their heart, begins to release.
As this release begins, Emmett, you sense that care that changed within Charley, you feel it for yourself, that she has loosened her grip on something of her world in order to make space in this one. And And as the object lodged in this witch's heart comes loose, you are both suddenly and without warning pushed down your streams of consciousness that you had been riding and away from this witch. And everything goes white. And Emmett, you pop up in the river in Tubal.
Charley, you wake in the bathtub.
Her heart has been claimed by the being seeking to change a truth about the world. With what object has it speared her heart? We cannot see. That was Ariella Weigl as Charley and Oleander Mack as Emmett. Sara Brink and Jacob Wolf Lefton were the game masters. Sound design by Sara Brink. This scene was produced for the alternate reality game Broken Sky, which was played over Blue Sky in July 2025 as cross-promotion for the Witches of Wadera Keep and Oops All Witches. This is a Dancing Stickman production.